Guys, One Piece is on a high right now. So many new developments in just the past 2 weeks. The second global popularity poll has started, so every day you can go and vote for whichever character you want. And you already know who I'm voting for. By the time this comes out, season 2 of the live action will have been out for a few days, and y'all, can I just say how excited I am? It looks even better than season 1, so expect some reviews for it. The Toei anime is coming back with their new seasonal model, and it's going to be starting the Elbaf arc. The manga is completely frying right now because we just got out of the God Valley flashback, Loki's flashback, and speaking of Loki, he's going absolutely crazy. One Piece surpassed Superman for the most sold comic in human history with over 600 million copies in circulation. And to celebrate, Oda made a real-life One Piece treasure by writing down the secrets of the One Piece on a piece of paper, closing it in a treasure chest, and dropping it to the bottom of the ocean. Some poor human is gonna drown trying to look for it. And even the cover of volume 114 is tough because we actually get the color schemes of the Rocks Pirates. But of course, y'all, speaking of volume 114, we have a new SBS. And as we always do in these SBS breakdowns, we gotta talk about it. If you're excited for a whole lot of new lore, please y'all do something for me. Like the video, okay? That is incredibly important. Subscribe to the channel for more anime content just like this every week. And share it around with all your friends who love the series. You know what we always say here. Let's get it going. But make sure you subscribe to me and my boys over at CSY. Now starting us off, we have confirmation from Oda that the bomb, ghost, and magnet fruits were eaten by former members of the Rocks Pirates. And it's like, yeah, we know. Interestingly though, he does say that people with the same fruit will tend to use it in different ways because he notes that Gonzui's fingers were too thick for him to be able to use the boogers the same way Mr. Five does. Which I guess has interesting bearings on Sabo because are we gonna see him use the flame fruit differently from Ace? Then we get one of the funnest questions I think we've ever had in the SBS, and it's Oda. What do the Straw Hats do for game night? And let me be the first to tell you, it's a lot. To start off, they have the Straw Hat Band, with Brooke and Frankie both playing the guitar and everybody else just joining in with the singing. They have the, quote, Usopp quiz, where Usopp hands out a sheet of paper and literally everybody participates. I'm sorry, now we need an Usopp quiz in real life. And they also have all sorts of other fun games that they do, including arm wrestling, board games, Jenga, weapons as darts for dartboards, drinking contests, and we already know who's winning that based off of a previous SBS. Speed eating contests. Jinbei has this one dice gambling game, which of course makes sense because he's basically a Yakuza. Sumo matches, I'm interested who wins those. Blindfolded plank walking, don't know what that's about. And Usopp's imitation show, where Usopp just does impersonations of certain people and, you know, for comedy it's a gag, but we've actually seen him do some impersonations in the story. And this is just fun because it honestly just seems like Usopp is the main person who kind of like brings everybody together to do this, and he gets the most kick out of it, which I just genuinely love for his character. I'm glad that he's able to do that since he can't do much else. Then we have a question on the Kuja. So someone asks if it's always the case that the captain of the Kuja pirates becomes the Empress of Amazon Lily. And Oda actually responds that it's the other way around. Since the saying on Amazon Lily is that strength is beauty, when somebody ascends to the throne is when they get to start serving as the captain of the Kuja pirates. He then interestingly notes that the Gorgon sisters were first candidates for the throne, and then they were kidnapped, which means that there's a whole story there about Boa's backstory that we don't know. So how did they get from being candidates to being enslaved at the Holy Land? Because this seems to imply that somebody knew, oh, these may be the future captains of the Kuja pirates. We need to take them away to weaken the Kuja forces. Who feared these 3 little girls that much? For the next question, somebody just wanted info on Shiki to celebrate him actually being a character in the canon of the manga, instead of just like throwaway material or non-canon movies. He is currently 73, meaning at the time of the Rocks crew forming, he was about 25 and 35 at the time of God Valley. Oda also says currently, which means that he's still alive. He likes gold sushi and hates burdock root. And you know what? If anybody else hates burdock root, well, tell me how it tastes. I don't know what that is. Interestingly, both of his swords, Oto and Kogarashi, are Ryo Wazumono grade, which means they're both part of the 50 skillful grade class. That's only surprising because I would have thought that somebody as pertinent as Shiki, he would have at least 2 Saijos. And some people may think that's crazy, but just remember that for all intents and purposes, this guy was a Yonko. But the most important thing we found out about Shiki, and it's pretty sad for my personal theory about him, he comes from Yano country. Not Wano country, Yano country, which Oda explains is like a rougher, tougher version of Wano. Well, Oda, you know what we need to do. Now we need a Yano country arc. Oda, I feel like you playing with us. It's like, it would have been really easy for Oda to just have made him be from Wano. The fact that he's literally calling it Yano country and having it be the rougher version of Wano means that he knows that that was the community expectation. Now we also get some rapid fire names of things that appear in the Rock's flashback. For example, Rock's sword is named Eclipse. Shanks and Shamrock's mom's name was Magnolia. Damn, R.I.P. her because she got slimed out in the worst way. And the name of Rox's pirate ship was Rox's Fury. We then get the 20 years and 40 years in the future profiles for Yamato, which is something that Oda exclusively did for the Straw Hats, splitting them up between good and bad timelines. In the good timeline, Yamato at 40 is seemingly traveling with the Straw Hats, as she's like, Luffy, look, there's Wano, let's go visit. And at age 60, hold on. Is she becoming the Shogun? Well, obviously there's no way because Momo would still be the Shogun, right? But, I mean, surely at this point she's becoming like a daimyo or something, which she's not that happy about. But in the bad timeline, oh my god. At age 40, she looks absolutely ridiculous. Literally copying Odin's hairstyle and is still stuck in her dumbass ways of, oh, I am Odin. And at age 60, y'all, I think this may be the craziest one we've ever had. She's so committed to the bit that she burns herself alive. And this being absolutely terrifying aside, my whole thing with this is, Oda, are you still, at this stage, still trying to bait us about Yamato joining the crew? I mean, giving her the profiles at all, in her good timeline, she's literally traveling with the Straw Hats. What are we doing here? We've been done with this plot line. We don't care anymore. But nah, this next one is wild because it actually still has plot implications right now. But Oda confirms, with no shadow of a doubt, that it was in fact Shamrock, not Shanks, who met with the Gorosei. Y'all, this is crazy to think about because this is literally how the whole evil twin thing ever started. Then even when Shamrock was confirmed as a character, people were still saying there's a way for it to be Shanks. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought we had already come to this conclusion, but hey, listen, Oda confirmed it now, there's no fighting it. Oda gives us some great lore on the Denden Mushi too. Someone asked Oda about the way that the Straw Hats work with their snails, and I just love little trivia stuff like this. Like really fleshing out the world building, like beyond just major characters. And 5 members of the crew, Nami, Robin, Usopp, Sanji, and Frankie, all have their own baby Denden Mushi that they share between each other and use for like shorter distances. Now first of all, this makes sense in terms of the members who have them. We definitely do not want to give these guys to Luffy or Zoro. Chopper already carries way too many things. While Brook and Jinbei, I guess they don't have a reason to not have one. I just think that this group of characters makes sense. I like that Oda gives us a glimpse into who the responsibilities of the crew mainly fall on. Anyways, Oda mentions that as long as they have water, they can go for up to 3 months without any food. However, the psychic connection they need to establish the calls uses up a lot of energy, so people just tend to feed them food anyway, especially their favorite, lettuce or cabbage. The Straw Hats usually let them go to town in Nami's Tangerine Grove or Robin's Flower Garden, and apparently if you sprinkle water on them, they get so happy that their communication can be sent from across the world, and that range is kinda wild. Now the final question is, in my opinion, the biggest one, because Oda spills all the tea on Kozuki Moria. And I'm not gonna lie, it's exactly what I said happened. So y'all remember how in the Yamato cover story when we saw the Kozuki Moria grave marker and everyone was like, wait, Moria is from Wano? Well, yes and no. Basically what happened is that at some point when he was young, Moria drifted all the way to Wano. And that's crazy because we know that he was born in the West Blue, so to go from the West Blue to Wano as a child, something happened. The people of the Ringo region found him and took him in, healing him and taking care of him as he regained his strength. Because he was already strong then and they cared for him, he was given the name Kozuki. He then left Wano behind and later set out to sea to become a pirate following Roger's execution, which we saw him at. But when he heard about Kaido's regime on Wano, that's when he took his crew there and went to Wano to try and save it. He actually cared about the people the same way that they cared about him, so he was actually trying to free them. But of course, that's where they had their fight and where Kaido slaughters his entire crew. And he was beaten so bad that he adopted the ideology of supreme laziness. And before leaving Wano, he stole Ryuma's corpse and the Shusui from his grave. Thing is though, the people of Wano never actually knew about what happened to Moria. So as far as they're concerned, he died in the battle against Kaido. And under that assumption, they erected a grave in his honor. And again, this makes so much sense when you consider that Wano is a closed off nation, so they would have no way of knowing that he survived and became a warlord and all that. And it's interesting to think about because Oda mentioned that he did want to put this in the main story, but he just didn't know where or didn't have the time. Hey, I have an idea for where you could have put it. How about whenever Perona freed Moria from being captured by Blackbeard? Or even better, since you wanted to do it during the Wano arc so bad, how about when we actually saw Moria during the Act 1 break? You know, when he first arrived to Hachinosu looking for Absalom? It could have given him flashbacks because he could have been like, attacking an Emperor of the Sea. This takes me back. And we could have just seen a short flashback. Didn't have to be that many panels. But hey, I don't write the story. That does bring us to the end of the SBS, y'all, but I'll need to hear your thoughts on it. What was your favorite question or thing that Elda tackled this time? And what would be your question to ask him in the next one? Make sure to let me know all that good stuff and more in the comments. Now that is the end, but before we go, like it, subscribe, share it around with all your friends. That's gonna be all for me. I'll catch you on the next one. And always remember, one piece, one life. Now if you'll excuse me, we're still fighting the institution, y'all. This is bad. Yeah, as it turns out, my college does not like black people.